first started working in this business in 1970, this was the only technology that we had available to us. This is called a 551 M Switchboard, and it was manufactured by Northern Electric, which later became Northern Telecom and then became Nortel, and everybody knows what happened to Nortel. So basically how it works is every one of these little holes, can you pan in on that little hole? That hole is called a jack, and it is basically a hard-wired extension of our customer's phone, the phone that we answer for. So that, like an extension in your home, if somebody called you and somebody picked up the extension phone in the kitchen and somebody picked up the phone in the bedroom at the same time, you can actually hear each other talk. Well, it works on exactly the same concept. This is a hard-wired connection to our customer's phone, so that if our operator plugged her cord into one of these holes or jacks and our customer was on the phone at the other end, they could actually hear each other talking. So what happened was, as soon as we had a call from one of our customers, this big huge light would light up. There would be a buzzer that would buzz, and of course the little light here, you can see this little lamp here, would also illuminate, so she would know what jack was calling in on, and the operator would simply take her cord, plug it in, and announce the customer's name. You can't see it because there are none here, but this is what they call a designation strip, this little white piece right up here, and that's where we typed in the name of the customer, or how they wanted us to announce it, along with their phone number. So she would simply read the name on the designation strip and say, "Good afternoon, Dr. James' office." And then typically she would put them on hold. This is a hold switch right here. She'd put them on hold, and then there'd be another one ringing, so she'd answer that one and say, "Good afternoon, answering for the ABC Realty Company." Put them on hold, and then she'd answer another one and answer that one, answering for the Acme Electrical Company, and put them on hold and answer another one, and so on and so forth. And it wasn't unusual that all of these cords were up and on hold, and then she would be answering for one of them at a time. And often, if another one rang, she could actually, the operator who worked on this switchboard, it's not set up this way, she could actually take one of her cords, bring it all the way over here, and plug it into the jack, and this operator could actually help out and assist this operator here. So they would answer the phone, and they would take a message, and this is a sample of a message ticket. It doesn't say too much. This is for Dr. Smithers, call your nurse. Please call the office as soon as possible. Of course, it was all written by hand and on a piece of paper, and as soon as the message was taken, if it didn't have to be dispatched, it was put up in Dr. Smithers. We call these pigeonholes for whatever reason, I have no idea. But there was one little pigeonhole for every customer that we had, and all the message tickets would go in there. Along with the message ticket, there would be a little piece of cardboard which would have expanded information about Dr. Smithers. So it would have his address, his phone number. There, of course, were no fax machines in those days, his office hours and his residence number, and what we're supposed to do with the message once we took the message. Of course, everything, we had to get as efficient as we possibly could, so everything was color-coded. You can't see it here, but every one of these lamps that lit up had a different color. So if it was a green lamp, it meant we had to answer the phone between 9 and 5. It was orange, it was from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. If it was red, it's a 24-hour line. And then we got really creative. We used to take nail polish and put nail polish on the top of the lamp, the different colored lamps. So pink nail polish on top of a red lamp means it was after-hour service only, so we only answered the phone after 5 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock in the morning. And if there was a pink dot on a green lamp, it meant we answered the phone from 9 to 5, but only Monday to Friday and not Saturdays and Sundays. And then we had these little things called chicken rings, and I'm assuming they were called chicken rings because they were probably wrapped around chickens' legs for some reason. So that if you had a red one that went on the on-off switch, this is the on-off switch too, so the customer called in and said, turn my line off, of course we would turn it off, and if the customer called in and said, turn my line on, we'd turn it on. If it had a red chicken ring, That meant the customer had complained, and there would be a red little slip in his pigeonhole to outline what the complaint was. And if it was a green ring, it meant the customer was on holidays, and there was a green piece of paper in the customer's file so that the details of the customer's holidays were up there. And if there was a yellow ring, and this is a yellow chicken ring, we'll put that right on there, that meant that there was temporary information. And so that there was a yellow slip of paper in the customer's pigeonhole, which outlined what the temporary information was. So, Dr. Jones is on call for Dr. Smithers. Well, of course, this is a time clock, so of course after you take the message, you had to stick this in here somehow, and it would actually timestamp the time that the call came in. And then we used to timestamp it again when the call went out. This was the dial. Of course, there's no touch tone in the early days, so everybody had to dial like this. And of course, the worst number you'd ever have to dial would be 5270000, because it would be 5270000. That would be the most unpopular phone number in the directory. So again, the prerequisite of a good switchboard operator was how quickly they could talk and how many people they could put on hold. And the level of service provided to our customers was totally dependent on the tenure of the switchboard operator. So if you had a switchboard operator who had been with you for 3 years answering the calls, she would know everything there is to know about every one of the customers, including Dr. Smithers, and what Dr. Smithers' children's names were, and Dr. Smithers' wife's name, and whether he wanted to be woken up in the middle of the night or not. But if you had a switchboard operator that had only been working with us for a couple of weeks, the level of service he provided to Dr. Smith's patients, or Dr. Smithers' patients, would be atrocious, which meant the level of service that we provided to our customers was very imperfect, certainly compared to the service we provide today. Right down here, this little strip down here, this is another little interesting fact. These are called administrative lines. So we had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 jacks, or 80 customer extensions on a switchboard. And down here we had 10 administrative lines, and those are the lines that the customers actually used to check in for messages and to inform the operators to turn the line on or off. Now I can tell you typically that if one of the customers called on one of those lines, the operator would answer that, and she would never put them on hold, because that was Dr. Smithers. And she'd have a nice long conversation with Dr. Smithers, and of course Dr. Smithers thought the service we provided was fabulous, because that's the service we provided to Dr. Smithers. But as you can see, Dr. Smithers' patients were all put on hold. So Dr. Smithers' patients and our customers' customers got poor service, but our customers and Dr. Smithers got fabulous service because they phoned in down here. And that was a real weakness with the system. This technology, I'm not sure when it actually started, but I'm assuming it was the 30s, 40s, or probably, I'm certainly before the 50s. And it was actually in operation right up until the late 80s and early 90s. So this is very, very old technology, but it was around up until 20 years ago. And you could only get it from the telephone company, and you had to rent it from the telephone company. There was no other options available. So the quality of service was terrible, and as soon as interconnect became available and the telephone answer machine was available so that you could actually plug it into your phone, when that happened, that was a huge threat to the telephone answering service industry, which up until that time had only had this technology available. But we'll talk about the telephone answer machine in another segment. Thank you.